You've seen people in your everyday life, bent over, head forward towards the ground. Do they remind you of how early humans looked? All jokes aside, bad posture can lead to serious health problems, and it's happening to younger and younger people right now. Those video games, cell phones, laptops, all take a toll on posture. So, to take a closer look at the issue, sit up straight and join Dr. Dane Donahue with me.
Let me ask you a question. Are you de-evolving? You know, we all have heard the word to evolve, and the word evolve means that we move from a simple to a more complex human being. So we've evolved over time. But most people now in this country are actually de-evolving. So they're moving from a complex to more simple form. And let me explain what I mean. You know, the World Health Organization just came out with a startling statistic, and they said for the first time in modern history, they predict that our children's generation, my children's generation, will not outlive their parents. As a matter of fact, they think that mortality is actually going to go down. Instead of being able to live longer, we're actually going to die about 5 years earlier in the next generation of human beings. So that means we're actually de-evolving. Let me tell you else how we de-evolve. We've gone from human beings that are up with good posture, that move on a regular basis, to human beings that sit most of the day. 70% of the workforce in the United States sits for more than 6 hours a day. So what happens when you sit? When you sit, you go from this evolved creature with very good posture, upright posture, to sitting. And then you sit some more. And then you sit some more, and you don't exercise or get adjusted, and then you hunker over even more, and before you know it, now you're on a walker, okay? And you start to de-evolve even more, and then before you know it, now you're in a wheelchair. And that's what happens from age of about 40 on. We start to de-evolve. And I'm actually starting to see it with children now because we spend so much time at the computer and so much time at Xbox and so much time on our cell phones texting. We're constantly in this forward posture, what we call anterior or forward weight bearing. And what happens is when gravity, and gravity is a force that acts down on our body, when we start to move or progress forward, gravity starts to have its way with us. Now think about this. The last time you grabbed groceries out of your trunk of your car to bring them into your house, did you carry them out away from your body? And what would happen if you carried them out away from your body? How long would you be able to hold those groceries up before you got tired or had to put them down? If you carry them close to your body, you can carry them all the way into the house, probably 2 bags without any problem. And so our head is no different. If we start to carry our head forward out away from our body like those groceries, we start to have the effects of gravity on our spine. And so gravity literally, like a force, starts to pull our spine forward. And then it starts to pull our spine forward even more and more and more. And if you look at people, we're starting to develop something called a kyphosis, which is just a hump in our upper back. So many people have that kyphosis in their spine, and it's all due to the fact that we're de-evolving. So one thing I would recommend is to really start to think about opening your posture. Think about our internal organs, our lungs. When you have a closed posture, that kyphosis, you're putting a tremendous amount of stress and strain on your internal organs, on your lungs' ability to take a deep breath, right? And many people who have poor posture actually suffer from fatigue because they can't get enough oxygen into their lungs because they're sitting on their lungs with their posture. So think about opening your posture. I always say think about leading with your belly button. Okay? If you lead with your belly button, you're going to pull your shoulder blades back, you're going to open your hips up. Okay, another thing that you can do is obviously receive chiropractic care. As your spine de-evolves and you develop that kyphosis, that's a misalignment of the vertebra in your spine. You have 24 vertebrae in your spine, and when somebody starts to develop an anterior or a kyphotic spine or de-evolving spine, generally you'll start to see arthritis and wear and tear in the lower cervical spine and the lower lumbar spine. And why? Because that's where the strain points are. If your car is misaligned in the front end, you know that stress on the tire is going to cause that tire to wear out unequally. So you take the tire off, you look at it, one side looks brand new, the other side's completely worn out. Well, as chiropractors, we see the same thing in people's spine when they're subluxated or when their spine is misaligned. Certain areas of the spine, like L5 or L4, and C5, C6 start to really receive a lot of compression, and over time those areas of the spine start to wear out. It's a very common problem, but don't mistake common and normal, okay? There's a difference between a common problem and a normal problem. Cavities are common, but they're not normal. Bad posture is common, but it's not normal. And your chiropractor is one of the few people in the healthcare specialties that probably is still going to talk to you about your posture. I remember when I was young, and certainly when my folks were young, they used to walk with books on their head because posture was so important. And so we would walk and practice with a book on our head, because the only way you can carry a book on your head is if you have good upright posture. If your posture starts to slump, then that book is going to fall off of your head. And so I want you to really start to talk to your chiropractor about things and exercises that you can do to improve your posture. I want you to start to talk about your coworkers, especially if you're in a job where you're sitting all day long. Start looking at people's posture from the side. Recognize that when we have good posture, the hole in our ear sits over top of our shoulder. It doesn't sit out in front of our shoulder. When we have good posture, our shoulders sit over top of our hips. They don't sit out in front of our hips. So the key to good posture is keeping your head over your shoulders, which your shoulders sit over your hips sit over your knees, and your knees are over your ankles. So I want everybody to start to make a conscious effort to improve their posture by getting chiropractic adjustments, by thinking and becoming more conscious of your posture, and starting to do exercises to open up your body. It's one of the reasons I love yoga so much in my own personal life. So I hope you got something out of this segment. Start to talk to your chiropractor about this. We'll see you on the next Life Path segment.